have you considered how your words influence other people, the way they're open or not to what you have to tell them, or even how you relate to them? Well, hi, this is Charo from tappingyourpurpose.com, and today I have a very special guest. Hi, Nati.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Nati is an expert in nonviolent communication, and today, after we talk to her, I think all of us will see words in a much different way. Nati, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to share about nonviolent communication.
Wonderful. Let me first please read your bio, because if I try to remember it, it will be a mess. So with your permission, let me go here and read your bio. So you'll see me reading her bio, okay? I don't think I'm lost in hyperspace. Okay, so Nati supports organizations, leaders, and individuals to communicate more effectively and empathetically so that they can meet their needs and those they serve better and move in the direction of living out their values. She uses a combination of nonviolent communication, participatory facilitation, and person-centered approaches to learning and organizational change. She also trains people in simple and powerful communication and collaboration tools that make all the difference. She particularly loves working with organizations and leaders that hold values of sustainability and social empowerment, as well as with individuals who wish to improve their relationships and move towards a more compassionate and connected way of living. I love that, Nati, and that part of sustainability totally fits me.
Thanks.
Yeah,
it's
so
important these days.
yeah, can you please tell us a little bit about nonviolent communication and what it is?
Yeah. Nonviolent communication is also called NVC, and it's the work of psychologist Marshall Rosenberg. And he put together a system for us to understand what is happening when we relate to others and when we communicate, so that we can start being more compassionate, more empathic. We can connect with each other with more ease, and we can really live from our best nature. We can enhance our communication, and we can stop doing things that detract from good communication. It's called nonviolent communication because it's really a system that fosters peace and harmony, and for all of us to live more compassionately with each other. So that's in a nutshell what NVC is. And it's a set of practices, it's a set of philosophies and principles to help us live in this way.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
It really drew my attention, and I think I've mentioned that to you, that I was really thinking, oh, I want to interview somebody about nonviolent communication. And then your course popped up into my feed. And I took that course with you, which I really love. But I guess that's what happened to me at the beginning. And I think for most people would be something similar. When you see nonviolent communication, you tend to think of yourself like, well, I'm not violent when I'm talking to others. I'm not aggressive. So why would I need something like that?
Yes, it used to happen to me in the beginning. I was seeing myself as someone really peaceful and gentle, and surely that was most of who I was, and definitely the intention and the orientation I had in life. But yet, once I started looking deeper, I realized the different things I did that were maybe a little bit aggressive or maybe less compassionate than they could be. And slowly, I started walking this path towards really being compassionate and choosing empathy and choosing connection with my every word, with my every move. And sometimes it's very subtle. Sometimes, Chado, our systems are violent. Even paying taxes is an imposition. It is very useful and we all adhere to it, but there's something in us that resists when things are obligatory or when things are imposed on us. And it's on many different levels, from the systemic to the individual, even the parent-child relationship. Anytime there's power differential between people, we need to look at how power is being used, and are people engaging with each other out of willingness and freedom, or are they engaging with each other because something is imposed? And that's a little bit of violence, isn't it? And we all resist it because we all want to be free and to relate to each other from this willingness and from this desire to contribute to each other. It's quite a different mindset in a way. So it's pervasive and it's very subtle, as you say. It doesn't have to be the big violence, the big aggression, which it also helps with. NVC is amazing at de-escalating violence, as maybe we will talk about later. Does that answer your question, Charlie?
Yeah, it does. It does. And I can totally relate to that. I was very surprised because I have read, Rosenberg's book. But your course was the first one that I really took, like seriously looking at all the elements. And I was very surprised because, I consider myself a highly sensitive person, very aware of my feelings and other people's feelings. And there were so many subtleties that I wasn't even aware of, It really surprised me. Could you?
Charo, even with ourselves, how aggressive or violent are we in our inner chatter? But even if you just start noticing how you talk to yourself, oftentimes we wouldn't dream to talk to anyone else in the terms that we talk to ourselves.
Until the inner critical voice.
Yeah, it's really practicing ourselves all the time, right? So as I say, super, super subtle, but once you notice it and you can change it, it has amazing influence and impact in your life and in your work.
Well, thank you so much for that example. I think it really brings, to reality what we're talking about. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. And I'm also a little bit curious, what led you to get involved with nonviolent communication?
Yeah, as I was sharing, I was already on a path of being really a gentle presence in my life with other people and in general. And I had my first child, and I happened to come across this little note on the supermarket, nonviolent communication training. And I thought, oh, I want that in my life. So, and it was really through my wanting to relate to my child in a different way and seeing how difficult it was, because my habitual patterns of communication and relationships came up all the time and I had no control. There I was, maybe finding myself speaking in a louder voice than I enjoyed. And I never wanted to do that, but I didn't know how to change that. But then I went to a workshop and it just completely blew my mind and opened up a whole new world. Even just the one thing I took from that one I can share is focusing on the observation and detecting when it isn't an observation, when I'm mixing in an interpretation, and that changes everything, that awareness, and then the words that come from that awareness. So it
awareness. Yeah, wonderful. Awareness that requires practice, but I think it really, really has lots to offer to us and to the peace that most of us really want for this world, especially right now with everything that's going on. Adding a bit more peace, I think it's a good thing for everybody.
And once my motivation in particular was with my child, because I had such strong commitment to being a peaceful parent, and I couldn't as much as I wanted to, even though I was gentle, already. But then it spread to myself, it spread to my work, to my husband, to my family. It just kept growing because it's universally applicable. It doesn't really matter what your motivation is, if it's personal or if it's relating to others or at work. You will see that it doesn't matter where you start, it just starts affecting everything when you practice.
I'm glad that you bring the topic of work because, most people who follow me are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, who just service professionals. And at the beginning, most of the examples we were sharing and talking about were about personal life, like personal relationships you mentioned with your child and all that. But I wonder, how could these be applied into a work environment? Any healer, coach that how could these help them to have a deeper relationship with their clients, or maybe in the way they communicate in their marketing pages, or how can that be applied?
I think the most important thing about NVC is that it really is universal, because it focuses on people's needs, and most of us all of us really share the same human needs, and then we find different ways to meet them. But if you pinpoint the need, it helps. For example, if you're with a client who's upset with you, If you identify what they need, what's motivating their upset, and you name it, you will see that they relax. The whole tone of their being relaxes, and then they're open to hearing maybe the reasons why you acted the way you did, or why you can't do what they say, or whatever it may be. But it helps connect people, and it helps us be empathic. Yeah. Another thing that it helps with is collaboration, really true collaboration, because people start not being afraid of speaking, because they have a new tool, a new language to speak really important truths without necessarily hurting each other. Yeah, which is what most people don't want to do. They don't want to be upsetting to others. In marketing, it helps because you can be really a truly compassionate person offering your work as a service to meet people's needs. And it's not as a strategy, as a marketing tool. It really comes from your heart, from wanting to provide that which will meet a need that your clients might have. And there's this subtle, energetic type thing that is felt by people, which comes from your wanting to be of service and having compassion for them.
Yeah, I can imagine how that can make a total difference in how you approach most of the tasks that we very compassionate entrepreneurs really dread doing, like writing a sales letter or even having a one-on-one conversation to offer your services, which most entrepreneurs really, really feel awful, feels
I know.
pushy.
Yeah, I feel the same. I do it
Yeah.
myself in my own business, and it can be quite difficult until I connect really deeply with my own needs and the reasons why I'm offering my work, and the connection that I want with my clients and my students. And then I offer my work from that place. It comes out as very authentic and very much a contribution and a gift to other people. And there's no, I don't engage. This is what NVC brings in. There's no obligation or force with it. It's really flowy and free, and they decide, and it's really okay with me. Every time I put out a course, it helps me just come into this space of, hey, it's for you if you want it. And I think the marketing turns into something very authentic, and people resonate with that, I think.
And how respectful.
Yeah,
how respectful.
It's all about respect. Yeah, and respecting me as well, and respecting other people. We respect everybody. We don't ever forget our own needs. All the needs come into the mix. Yeah. One thing it also helps with work, if you have some clients that work in organizations, it's incredible to create effective meetings, to create decision making that can converge while incorporating everybody's point of view. Oftentimes we shun away people who have a divergent point of view, or maybe they're outliers, or we find it annoying. And NVC allows us to translate that language and those even behaviors that people don't like into the core elements, and then to bring that into the mix. So then the workplace works better for everybody, and actually the service you provide, or the whatever your work outcome is, becomes better, because it's more informed by everybody. And all the employees are happier as well.
I really love that part. It resonates a lot with my background. I have a lot of background on depth psychology, Jungian psychology.
Yeah.
And he was always trying to find a common space where the opposites could blend together in what he called the transcendent function, because something bigger, higher, better for everybody involved can be born when you bring opposite points of view, and everybody can bring something to the mix.
Yeah.
So that win-win, I respect you and I respect myself, and we both listen to each other, and with the best of each one of us, we make something bigger that honors all of us. Exactly. So I really, really love that part. It really resonates.
And it becomes a process of creating together, or co-creation, and which is really strong. Then in the end, the outcome is much stronger. People are more willing to adhere to it, and really quite incredible.
Because they were taken into consideration. It's not imposed.
Yep. And everybody wins, as you say.
Yeah. Nobody likes to be imposed on doing something, being forced on something. Yeah, I really like it. Well, Nati, I hope you don't mind me asking you, but I would love if you could give us some, tips or tricks, or even mention the principles, whatever you feel comfortable about sharing, but something that we could get started applying this,
Yeah.
at least the awareness of.
Yeah, I think the first, some of it is about a change in perspective, and I will share with you one of those.
Okay,
A
thank you.
mindset that we tend to engage in, just from the way we were brought up and the way our culture works, is competition, right? And opposition, as we were talking about. We can choose not to play that game. Yeah, Marshall Rosenberg talks about we can play a different game, and we're going to stop talking about who's right and who's wrong, and instead we're going to talk about everybody, what everybody needs, and empathy for everybody, really seeing what everybody's bringing. And from that place, something new emerges, which is really collaborative and a partnership. So we call it a partnership model where everybody gets together. And as you said, we don't impose on each other, we just willingly create something together, understanding that we're taking care of everybody's needs. Yeah, so to move away from that win-win, I mean win-lose and you and me and competition mentality towards we're all in this together. We're going to enter into a partnership mentality where everybody can win because we'll meet the needs of everybody. Yeah, so that's one tip. Another one is to really watch your thoughts and to see how they're affecting your emotions and to see how they're different from your emotions. For example, if you think maybe you've been misunderstood by your client or by your boss or whatever it may be, that's your perception of what's happening. And that's what's causing you to feel maybe annoyed, frustrated, angry. But the emotions come after you've had the thought, after you've had the perception. And once you notice that, you can actually start seeing, oh, is that really what has happened? And you start gaining a broader perspective and you have more choice actually to maybe even figure out what's going on for them that they did this thing that you didn't like. And then you start gaining more emotional control and emotional freedom. You're not a victim of events any longer. You start being much more of an actor and having more control, more power in your life and in your work. So that's another thing that people can do. Would you like more?
If you can give us one more,
Yeah.
let's make it 3.
I think another really important thing in the beginning is to watch yourself when you're expressing how something happened. If you're putting in factual, observable information, that's the best because people can relate to it and agree. You can start creating some shared perception of what happened. And that's a really good place to begin before you resolve anything. Now, watch that you're not putting in your own interpretations as though they were true. They may be true, but people will have their own interpretations. And that's where we get caught, right? That's where we clash. No, we enter into this. No, but this is like this. No, it's like that. That right and wrong game again. So it's easier to just express what happened factually. And it takes some habit of really differentiating. Okay, is this my stuff I'm putting in, my interpretation, or did it actually happen? Sometimes we look at it like a video camera. Could a video camera perceive this in this way? So that if someone else saw it, they would sort of agree with what I said. Yeah, so that's another thing to watch.
Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, with that one, I need to practice a lot because it's so automatic, like you see something and you kind of make your own story about what happened. And it might have nothing to do with what you believe it's going on. So it's,
And even if it does have to do, and even if you're accurate, the picture is bigger than that. You're seeing one part of it and they're seeing a different part of it. And also, Shadow, I'd like to bring in self-compassion because we work this way. Our brain interprets. It's an interpretation machine. It helps us understand the world. It helps us orient ourselves in situations. And that's good. It's great. It's there to serve us. But we can add this piece of awareness and then turn it to our benefit in some way. Because sometimes the interpretation might not be very accurate or very connecting. Yeah, it creates some unwanted consequences.
And it might come from our past, from our past experiences, and not be really connected to the present and what's really going on.
Exactly. And that's what it's about. It's about being in the present, you with you and the other person. And in the end, generating empathy, both for yourself and for the other, to really see each other with compassionate eyes and openness. Okay, this is what I'm thinking. That's what you're thinking. This is what I'm needing. That's what you're needing. And we meet in this place. Much more respectful.
Yeah.
You're not
Thank you so much.
agreeing because your interpretation is different, but you are seeing them, and people love being seen. They love being understood. That de-escalates violence right away.
Don't we all need more of that, to be seen and heard?
Especially if there's aggression. If you have an angry customer, I remember once I did something that had consequences for someone else, and it was purely my inexperience. I hadn't intended to harm, but it did have that effect. And this person came to me, she was beyond angry, screaming and yelling and blaming and judging me. But because I had practiced MVC a little while now, I could just notice how upset she was. And just saying, I can see how upset you are that I did this thing and this was the consequence for you. I can see that. She just, you should have seen this lady, like angry, red. She just like calmed down and she went, yes. And then we could have the conversation about how to fix it. And then she could listen to my good intentions. But the harm was there for her. So unless I saw that pain, nothing was going to move. Does that make sense, Charo?
Totally. Like that anger was creating a filter that did allow you to reach out with your true intentions for her.
Exactly.
So it kind of diffuses that layer of anger or of the opposite. I'm here, a shield of protection, because she feels or she felt she was being hurt by you.
Exactly.
And when it dissolves, two hearts can really see each other compassionately and begin a
that's
true.
what happens. Yeah. And the beauty of it, people say, well, but of course you can use NVC to manipulate, but then it would stop being NVC. You see? You can't be empathic and manipulate. It's just not possible. You can go through the motions of empathy, but that's not being empathic, because being there for another, to really see them, to really listen to them, it's about your energy, it's about your presence, it's about your openness to another's experience without judging it. And that can't be faked, you see? There's
agree.
No danger at all in being manipulative with NVC, because it stops being respectful and nonviolent.
And I agree, it cannot be done, because even I truly believe that all of us are very highly intuitive, even if we don't admit it. But we have a strong sense of where the other person is coming. Yeah. So once that we can diffuse that layer of protection of the anger or the whatever, they truly feel if you come from your heart and from empathy and compassion or not.
Exactly.
It will feel off if they try to do it to manipulate. We will, all of us will really feel off with that other person and know it's not coming from a true heartfelt compassion.
Exactly. And we're wired to connect with each other in this attuned way. We have like little antennas that tell us exactly what you're describing.
Yeah, true. Oh, thank you so much. I'm really sure those techniques will really, at least, be useful to be more aware of what's going on. Yeah. But, well, just give us a tiny, little piece of what nonviolent communication can do for us and how we can get started. But what if people want to know more? How can they connect with you?
Yeah. Well, they can go to my website, which is natibeltran.com. And there's different sections there. One of them is courses, so that'll tell them what current courses I'm offering at the moment. I have one coming up on feedback. Sometimes I have in-depth courses that are maybe 9 months or 12 months to really get the skills and the new language. It's like a new language that you practice and learn. Then it becomes natural for you. So that's a good way. And there's many other trainers. If you prefer in-person training, you just go to the Center for Nonviolent Communication website, which is cnvc.org. And then you can find me, you can find other trainers there.
Thank you so much. Well, let me say that, you were my first teacher on nonviolent communication, and I'm sure I will attend more of your courses. And I really loved your gentleness and your compassion. I could really see that in action. So you're a great example of what nonviolent communication really can do. for all
Oh,
of
thank
us.
you, Shadow. That's really powerful to hear. And that's it. You want to just live it. It's something you live every day, and it's a path. It's not like you have it and then and that's it. You're done. It's like meditation or anything that is growth or inner growth. It's a path that you practice.
Yeah, true.
And
So
you become
true.
better as
So
you
true.
do it over time. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh,
Any final thoughts, any final ideas you want to leave us with before we wrap up?
I think I would say if you start practicing some of these ideas, or if you read Marshall Rosenberg's book, or if you look at a video and you start, please don't be discouraged, because it is very simple. It appears to be very simple, and yet changing habits is anything but simple, because you have those brain grooves really nicely created.
Those connections.
Exactly, they've been walked and nicely trodden, and you need to create some new ones, and that takes time, and it sometimes it's a little discouraging, but I promise you, with practice, you will end up incorporating some of these principles and practices naturally into daily life. And another piece of advice I would say is to just speak naturally. You can practice NVC to analyze your conversations, to think about new ones. But then when you're with the real person in real life, just try and speak naturally, because as you said, it's an energy that comes from your heart and from your mind. It's a way of being, and it's an intention to be respectful and empathic and compassionate. And people feel that no matter what words you use. They feel that more than the words.
Yeah, I agree.
The words start changing naturally with your integration of it.
Well, thank you so much, Nati. I've really loved the tips you share and your energy, and I'm sure people can feel it.
I love talking to you, and I hope it can be helpful to some people.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.